Hello and welcome back to Tim Roadie Drive Stuff, or as I call it, me drive stuff. Me Tim, this Ford Ranger Raptor. It's big, it's very big, but it's also big oddity in UK. Hear why. Ugh, my brain did something funny then. I was talking nonsense. But anyway, on to business. This is the Ford Ranger Raptor. It's the first official Raptor product we've been allowed to have in Europe, because people always thought the F-150 with its V8 and V6 engines was going to be too big for European roads. And I know a guy at Ford that smuggled one over, presumably in his suitcase, and yeah, he couldn't fit it in a single parking space that you could find in England. So it's based on the Ranger R1. That's probably a good thing because it's the best-selling pickup truck in the UK, I think, in 2019 at least. No one sold anything in 2020. And it's smaller. But small is relative. It's 5.3 meters long, which is longer than a Bentley Flying Spur, and that's a luxury limousine. So, oh my God, it's huge still. And it looks really butch on our European roads. Like, in the context of Europe, I know if we took this to America, you would laugh at it and call it homophobic names. But here, it looks really good and butch, and they've raptored it up to the max, and it's 30 mil higher than a regular Ranger. And this whole theme of butchness and masculinity continues at the back. Now, the reason that the Ranger Raptor looks so ludicrous on our roads is that it's sitting quite high on off-road Baja spec Fox racing shocks under there, and they're designed to withstand ridiculous amounts of punishment. There's also some other engineering-y bits to make this the most off-roady pickup truck you can buy in Europe. I'm going to stop doing that caveat in a minute. Americans, don't comment. There's a thing called a Watts linkage on the rear axle, which helps the axle stay in position laterally as it goes up and down its massive range of suspension travel. There's also a locking rear diff, so, you know, off-roading can occur, and also skids, but we'll get to that. There's also some very simple but effective chassis reinforcement, which basically means that Ford has welded large chunks of metal onto the chassis rails to stop it bending when you jump it. And yes, you can jump this. I went on the launch, and I'll mention this a few times in the video. It was in the deserts of Morocco and on the beaches and around Essaouira. Probably not the right pronunciation. But yeah, I jumped this into, off and around sand dunes. Didn't break it. Thought I was going to break it. Thought the airbags would go off my face. And that's all down to the suspension and chassis reinforcement. You can just drive this everywhere, like off the road. You can drive it through things probably. Not going to do that because Ford will hate me. Oh yes, and you also get these very subtle Raptor stickers to tell the neighbours that you're hard as nails. Personally, I've quite enjoyed taking this to some of Surrey's finest tea rooms with my girlfriend and daughter for a delicious slice of Victoria sponge cake before trundling home in the Raptor. Takes all sorts, doesn't it? While we're around the back of the Ranger Raptor, I wanted to show you these two towing eyes because they tell a bit of a story about what this truck is trying to be. You see, the Raptor can only tow 2.5 tons, whereas the standard Ranger can tow 3.5 tons, and the load bed can only carry about 650 kilograms stuff. The standard Ranger about double that. So yeah, it's not as much of a workhorse as the standard Ranger, but it's a lot more expensive. So yeah, what is this truck trying to be? It's not trying to be a workhorse. I'll give you that hint, and what it is, we'll get on to throughout the video. But I just wanted to point these practicalities out to you while I'm kneeling on a bramble. Next to an ant's nest. Excellent. I love nature. It's great. Why did I park it in a verge? Stupid YouTube. The Ranger Raptor is a pickup truck, and you might think that'd be quite a cool thing to bomb around in for family duties as well, but to be honest, the reality is that everything rattles around in here, and unless you get all 50 shades of builder, I don't know, then it's not actually that much use because everything gets covered in crap, rattles around, and you just chuck everything on the back seats. So yeah, unless you've got lifestyle hobbies such as kayaking or cycling, this isn't actually that practical. It's got a roll top so no one will nick things. You can use this. God! Ah! I'd make a shit builder. You've got a roll top so you can secure stuff in the back. People won't be nicking things out of it, but yeah, you'd probably rather have an estate car, to be honest. But it is quite cool though. Does that make up for it? I don't know. One bonus of the Ranger Raptor being a pickup truck though is that it's very tall, so you can stick your camera on the top of it or climb into the back of it and perv on your neighbour's cows. Look at this. Magnificent beasts. So many cows. They were going to go to slaughter, but they've already contracted boredom by listening to me do my review, so sorry guys. So yeah, I guess the Ranger Raptor could be the world's first cow pervert wagon. Excellent. Cows. It's when you look at the Ranger Raptor's tyres that you start to get more of a sense of what it wants you to do with it. These are BF Goodrich KO2 all-terrain tyres, and yeah, they're very, very off-road biased, which is why I'm parked in a verge. It's kind of subliminal messaging. But yeah, they howl a bit on the road and they hum a bit on tarmac, so this isn't as refined as a standard Ranger, but it does let you kind of drive anywhere. A big bone of contention on the internet is that the Ranger Raptor is powered by a 2-litre bi-turbo diesel with 4 cylinders and 210 horsepower and 369 foot-pound of torque, and that's a bit underwhelming for something with a Raptor badge. 0 to 60 will take 10.5 seconds and it will go on to 106 miles an hour, but as I will come on to in the driving bit, that's probably okay. So yeah, it's not special in the engine department. And yes, there were rumours that Ford in Australia, which is where this was developed, have put a V8 into one, a 5-litre V8 that Ford's got, and that's supposedly going to production in Australia, but I think coronavirus has probably killed that off. So we're stuck with the diesel. It's okay. And it's actually all right, unless you get up really, really steep sand dunes like we did last year in Morocco. It does start to lose its momentum a bit and you have to keep your foot down. But, you know, in real world driving, it's fine. Don't really need anything faster. But yeah, America wins the cool Raptor engine one. You know, all the people with F-150 V6 Raptors in America, I think, can say, I've got a detuned Ford GT engine in my Raptor. And we're like, got a diesel, it's fine. Sound a bit like Matt Watson. My favourite thing about the Ranger Raptor's interior is how you get into it. There's a big kick plate, you step on this, you look over your land, you go out of shot, and then you nestle yourself in the cabin. And yeah, you can tell they've done a good job of kind of tarting things up in here. It's still a commercial vehicle, so these are all hard wearing plastics rather than the squidgy stuff you'd get in a Focus, but it feels nice. You've got a red 12 o'clock marker on the steering wheel, you've got smartphone mirroring on the infotainment system, but it's still fairly basic. Heated seats, electric seats, USB chargers, the buttons for the locking diff, and a manual handbrake. Driving modes are selected using this on the steering wheel, makes it very easy. Mirror controls are up here, not on the door like in a car. But yeah, it's quite nice. It's just nice enough to warrant a 50 grand price tag, but don't expect it to feel Mercedes levels of plushness. It's all right, is what I'm trying to say. Actually, so I've got to do the Tim Rodey patented shift paddle flick test. Yeah, that hurts. They're metal. Good. We'll come on to why that's important. The rear seats in the Ranger Raptor are not especially fantastic. I mean, that could go forward a little bit, but I'm 6'3" and I'm a little bit cramped in here. You know, you can get your kids back here, there's ISOFIX points and that sort of stuff, but I don't know, you're always reminded that this is a commercial vehicle back here. They've tarted it up quite well up front, but your backseat passengers might as well be lads from down to yard or something. I'm sorry to any builders, I have no idea how you talk. So what's the Ranger Raptor like to drive then? Well, there are some fundamentals to driving a Ranger Raptor. Don't mess around with any of the driving modes other than Baja. Leave it in too high, so rear wheel drive, handbrake off, and we slowly ease away and begin our journey, just as the rain starts, in fact. Okay, so first things first. The windscreen wipers on, it's raining. First things first, it's not particularly quick, 10.5 seconds to 60. You know, it takes an age. Sorry, I can't do this seriously because I've already gone into a layby to do a skid. That's what the Ranger Raptor makes you do. It's not about outright speed. It will only do 106 miles an hour at the top end, which isn't particularly fast. But as the guys from Ford Australia told me on the launch, you can do 106 mile an hour wherever you like. Basically means you can go, oh, I'm on the grass, oh dear, what a shame, and it just soaks it all up. My camera mount is gonna hate this review. But yeah, that Fox suspension, it soaks up bumps really well, it's comfortable on the road, but it also just makes you want to drive everywhere that's not the road. Sorry, camera mount, you are going on the piss a bit. Yeah, so, you know, you'll be going down a country road and you'll be like, I'm just gonna drive at 40 miles an hour down the grass because You can. When I went on this car's launch in Morocco, we were jumping it off sand dunes, nosing down in midair into what I thought was going to be an airbag setting off crash, and it just kind of came back for more. So you feel like it's completely unbreakable, and having done that stuff in Morocco, I would have absolutely no qualms about driving this flat out at 70 miles an hour off a jump on your farm. On your farm. That's the problem with the Ranger Raptor. To get it at its best, you need land and you need lots of it. And I don't have any land, so I just end up driving it like a bit of an oik. I'm going to turn around. And yeah, you want somewhere, you want a playground where you can unleash the Raptor, because on the road it's okay, it's not wonderful, it hums a bit on the motorways. It's perfectly livable, don't get me wrong, but it is at its best when it's 6 feet in the air off a jump. Yeah, I'm getting 24.5 mpg, so it's not particularly economical either. Yeah, I do love it though. It does make you laugh like a kid. What else was I meant to say about it? That seems very brief. Yeah, jumps. I've just written the word jumps about 5 times. So I'm sorry I don't have any footage of me jumping this, because I didn't do videos back then. Okay, I'm just going to pull away sensibly from this layby. I'm going to go up the verge. Oh dear, someone's going to have a go at me. In terms of complaints about the Ranger Raptor, we've talked about how it's not lovely at high speeds on the motorway, but the 10-speed automatic gearbox does one of two things really. It occasionally surprises you by being really clunky on down changes, especially in the sportier modes. It hammers the gear down in as you're shifting down, and that can make you feel a bit, well, like you've broken something. Otherwise, when you put your foot down, sometimes it just feels like a CVT, like in a scooter or something. It just kind of, you put your foot down and it feels like the rev's set at this one point and the speed catches up, which isn't great either. So yeah, gearbox isn't especially fantastic. It's alright. The engine, you get a dodgy fake noise piped in over the diesel growl when you're in sporty modes. But yeah, no, it's just, oh no, I've gone off the road again. This keeps happening. Right, that's basically the driving impression. Makes you drive like a tit. End of video. Now you're staring at my crotch, it's probably a good time to do an outro, isn't it? So in conclusion then, what exactly is the Ford Ranger Raptor? Well, it's niche, there's no denying that. 50 grand, it's expensive, it's a diesel, it's not as commercial as the commercial versions of the Ranger, but you can think of it as an off-road supercar. I know, bear with me, I know it's diesel, it's not a supercar. But think of a 911 GT3, that is focused on going fast around a track and giving you thrills on road. Ranger Raptor, exactly the same thing, but for fields. It's a car for going as fast off-road as you dare. And honestly, when you drive this thing, it makes you feel like a child with the best toy in the world. You'll be going down country lanes thinking, I'm just going to drive on the grass a bit. It makes you silly. It makes you feel like a child again. And, you know, I think we should celebrate that. Let's overlook the diesel thing. It is what it is. And accept the Ranger Raptor for being a laugh-a-minute off-road hooligan thing for the rich. I've been Tim, thank you for watching. Thanks so much to all you subscribers. I love you all individually sometimes. Like, subscribe, join them. See you next time.